The next speaker, we have Mrs. Patience Chisanga Mayer.
Greetings to you and greetings to everyone in this webinar. It's my sincere pleasure to be joining you live from Germany. I have had a couple of challenges joining in because I am in transit, but I hope that everything will go according to plan. It's my pleasure to talk about a topic that I'm really passionate about, and that is public speaking and personal branding. I'm looking forward to listening to some of the questions that will be coming through from you, and I'm looking forward.
Yeah, I'll make a short introduction about you and maybe you can continue with your presentation then.
Definitely.
Mrs. Patience Chisanga Mayer is a public speaking and branding expert from Germany and Zambia. She is a distinguished Toastmaster Award holder, a Global Shapers Community alumni, a 2015 Mandela Washington Fellow, a corporate communications and public relations expert, a professional keynote speaker, a public speaking, branding and leadership trainer, a radio and television broadcaster, voice-over artist, event MC, a philanthropist, and startup founder, a bachelor in arts, degree holder in mass communication from the University of Zambia, and a certificate in business and entrepreneurship from Northwestern University in USA, with over 10 years work experience in broadcasting and communication, and a Toastmasters International self-acclaimed ambassador. The topic she's about to speak is 10 steps to improving your public speaking skills and building a brand called you, YOU. We are happy to have you, Mrs. Patience. Over to you.
Very much obliged. Thank you for that introduction. Really excited to be here, as I mentioned earlier, to talk about a topic that I am really passionate about. Allow me to just share my screen so that my slides can guide my presentation today. 10 ways to improving your public speaking and building a brand called you. Branding is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Those are not my words. Those are the words of Jeff Bezos, the founder and CEO of Amazon.com. Personal branding is not about you. It's about putting your stamp on the value that you deliver to others. Words of William Arruda, a personal branding guru. So what is personal branding? My personal definition is it's the intersection of how you see yourself and how others see you. Why am I discussing personal branding today? Because it is critical to leadership. It is critical to education. It is what connects you to the people around you. There are three major elements that we have to reflect on when we look at what personal branding is. It's not really about self-promotion. It's simply telling a story. And there are various platforms that you can use to tell your story. The first element is authenticity. And this simply means, as educators, as learners, as leaders, we have to be authentic in the way that we lead. We have to be authentic in the way that we communicate. We have to find that which we are passionate about, be transparent, and be honest about being true to those values that we have as individuals. The second element is consistency. And consistency is king. This simply means that once you define your story, you have to be consistent with that story as you tell it to the rest of the world. It's more of consistency than big splashes. A slow drip is better than a big splash, they say. And this simply speaks to the fact that as long as you're doing that which you're called to do and you're consistent with it, you will have more impact with time. The third element is expertise. And this simply means that even as we're building our brands as leaders, as educators, as learners, we always have to add value to ourselves. And our expertise lies in our education. Our expertise lies in the investment that we make in ourselves, the investment that we make in continuously learning and building on that which will help us step forward to build our businesses and to impact the societies in which we operate. So as you tell your story, you have to remember that you have to be authentic, you have to be consistent, and you don't have to be afraid of showcasing your expertise. Your expertise is reflected in your education. Your expertise is also reflected in the experience that you have in a specific field. Putting these together feed into strengthening what your personal brand is. There is what we refer to as personal proof, social proof, association, and recognition. Personal proof refers to the things that you can do by yourself. This refers to research that you can carry out by yourself. This refers to associations and communities that you can be affiliated to as you continuously place a stamp and the value that you continuously give to the people in your circle. Social proof really is the stamp that education plays in your personal brand. This refers to professions that require you to be certified by certain bodies so that you can perform your duties. When we talk about medical experts, when we talk about accountants, when we talk about doctors, when we talk about surgeons, they need social proof because we all want doctors that have been to school. The other concept to look at is association. And association refers to the relationships that you have with the people around you. Who are you associated with? Who is in your circle? And how are they impacting the story that you are sharing with the rest of the world? Recognition refers to the fact that do not be afraid to tell your story to an extent that you actually push for awards. It could be in professional circles or even in your social circles. Recognition means you are identified for something that you are doing. And by utilizing personal branding elements, by telling your story, you will be able to be recognized. And perhaps you're asking, what are the branding platforms that I can use to tell my story? The number one platform is human interactions. So each and every relationship that you have, every interaction that you have with anyone on a daily basis is part of the story that you are telling. And so you have to be consistent throughout this time frame. Be careful about your human interactions because every individual that you're talking to is someone who is able to help tell your story. The second platform is the digital world. Unfortunately, we are now living in the age where social media has become a powerful tool to connect with audiences, a powerful tool to build personal brands. And because the world has moved so fast, we too, at our own pace, need to utilize these platforms to tell our stories and to build our brands. What are some of the action steps that you can take to build your brand? Number one is craft your personal branding statement and framework. What are your values? What do you believe in? Who are you and what do you stand for? The second thing is your purpose. Ask yourself what your purpose is and make sure you write this down. We all have different passions and we all have different purposes in life. But do you know what your purpose truly is? And your purpose is not about getting a salary at the end of the month. Your purpose goes beyond that. Your purpose comes down to how you impact the people in your life. It could be your family, it could be friends, it could be your colleagues. The next action step is you writing down what your core values are. Without values, you will have no map and you will have no direction. So your core values will really contribute to the story that you will tell as a brand. And then finally, we have your skills and your strengths. What are your strengths and what are your skills? Are you deliberate about defining these? And are these things that you can openly talk about in a conversation with other people? We have credibility, and credibility really is something that now ties in well with the topic of public speaking. Because in public speaking, you have to be credible. In communication, you have to be credible as you are communicating. And I want to now talk about public speaking and the various delivery techniques that exist. Now, these are the 10 techniques that will enhance your public speaking skills, and they will also contribute to strengthening your personal brand. The delivery techniques really are methods and skills used to effectively convey your message to an audience. These techniques focus on how you speak, how you move, and engage with your listeners. Today, we will look at the top 10 commonly employed delivery techniques in public speaking, and I hope that you will find these useful, even as you embark on building your brand and telling your story. The first one is voice modulation. Voice modulation deals with how you adjust your tone, your pitch, and volume of your voice to create variation and emphasis. Now, this can help convey emotions, it can highlight important points, and it can help maintain your audience's interest. So if you want to communicate better, if you want to present better, then voice modulation is one thing that you want to consider. The second thing is body language. Your body speaks. By utilizing nonverbal cues such as facial expressions, gestures, and posture to enhance your message, maintaining an open and confident posture, using appropriate hand gestures, and making eye contact with your audience will help shape rapport, and it will help you engage with your audience. In as much as public speaking is about you having the confidence, your body language does contribute to you becoming a better communicator. The next element is having eye contact with your audience. It shows that you are attentively engaging with your audience when you look at them. It increases their involvement in your presentation. And when we communicate, it is relevant that we incorporate eye contact, because with this, you will have more impact and you will have more presence as a speaker. Step number 4 is using gestures to communicate. Now, purposeful and appropriate gestures can add emphasis and clarity. These things can also add visual interest to your speech, but they can also illustrate concepts and emphasize key points. Now, when we talk about gestures, an interesting research that was done by Albert Mehrabian's 73855 rule of personal communication. Basics of personal communication say that when you communicate, It's a combination of 7% being your words, 38% being your voice and tone, 55% is body language. Now that gives you insight into just how important purposeful gestures are. They have an impact when you communicate. And it is very important that when you communicate, you utilize body language. It's simple gestures, such as when you're moving from one point to another, and you showcase that you're moving from one point to another with your hands, you will have more impact when you're communicating. When we talk about transitioning in public speaking, we are referring to the fact that you can use your hands to demonstrate part of your content. You can use your hands to strengthen your message by using hand gestures. Sometimes you can be talking about the size or the movement or the growth of an institution, and you could simply indicate how we started from the ground and now we moved up. Those simple gestures do feed into the impact that you have as a public speaker and as a communicator. You may be talking about many challenges that educationalists face worldwide. And by simply adding this hand gesture of many challenges in the world does contribute to the impact that you will have as a speaker. So let's move along and see what else we can do to improve our public speaking. The next step speaks to your facial expressions. And this takes us back to the idea and the concept of authenticity. Expressing your emotions, using your face to convey enthusiasm, concern, humor, or other relevant emotions can make your speeches more compelling and relatable. Remember, when you are communicating, when you are speaking, people are likely to be receptive to your information when you've got a friendly face. Do not be afraid to smile at the audience. Do not be afraid to greet your audience. Facial expressions would definitely contribute to you speaking better. Number 6 is your pace and your posing. One of my favorite quotations says that there is power in posing, and silence has more eloquence than speech. Why? Because when you pose, you give your audience an opportunity to internalize the message that you have for them. It feeds into your comfort levels and your confidence. Pace and posing, controlling the speed of your speech and using strategic poses can help emphasize important points. And this can allow your audience to process information and create a rhythm that maintains engagement. On the side, you will notice I have a little circle that sort of highlights how pacing and posing can support your communication journey. If you want to sound authoritative, you want to be slow and loud. If you want to sound animated, you want to be fast and loud. If you want to sound authentic, slow and soft would be an element that you may want to work with. Fast and soft is about anticipation. So once you employ this whenever you communicate or whenever you make presentations, you will be more impactful in your presentation style. Number 7 is pronunciation and articulation. Speaking clearly and enunciating your words will help ensure that your message is understood by the audience. When you pay attention to pronunciations, particularly with challenging words, you will have met your communication goals and you will definitely have more presence when you speak. And this has got nothing to do with our accents, our dialect tones. We can always learn to pronounce words correctly by simply allowing our mouth to shape the letters or the words that we are using when we speak. A, O, C, D, N, S. Your mouth is shaped differently depending on the letters that are contained in the words that you are saying. So going an extra mile and just practicing pronunciations, practicing words will contribute to the confidence levels that you will have as a speaker. The next element that I'm going to talk about is about energy. Do you have energy when you communicate? Energy is something that really is significant to public speaking. Infusing your speech with energy, passion, and enthusiasm can captivate the audience and create a positive impression. Show genuine interest in your topic, and by doing this, you will be able to engage better with your listeners. Donald Trump once said that if you do not have passion, you do not have energy. And without energy, you have nothing. That speaks to the importance of passion. And many of us may have mixed feelings about Donald Trump. It is allowed. I have mixed feelings about Donald Trump too. But one thing we can learn from him is the energy that he has and the passion with which he speaks. And therefore, it is very important that in public speaking and in communication, you have energy. The ninth element is the use of visuals. I have really appreciated how our presenters today have incorporated visuals into their presentations. Because in public speaking, if you want to have impact, you need to create a multi-sensory image in the minds of your audience. And incorporating visual aids such as slides, props, or multimedia presentations can enhance your delivery by providing visual support and reinforcing key points. You have to ensure that your visual aids are clear, relevant, and effectively integrated into your presentation. Number 10 is being adaptable. Being adaptable means you need to understand the different types of communication styles that exist. Whether you are an educator or you are the learner, it is important for you to understand that these styles of communication determine how you will communicate. And when we go out there and communicate with other people, we cannot communicate with the same communication style with everyone, because some people are assertive communicators. Other people are aggressive communicators. Other people are passive communicators. Others are passive aggressive communicators. And therefore, it is important for us to understand how we can best reach each and every individual in our setting when we communicate. Reaching out to the hearts of your audience members is very significant, and understanding, going an extra mile by discovering their communication style and seeing how best you can connect with them. Adaptability means being responsive to the audience's reactions and adjusting your delivery accordingly. And this includes reading your audience's cues, gauging their level of understanding, and adapting your pace, adapting your tone, or your content as needed. So those are the 10 steps to improving your public speaking and to improving your brand while you do that. Remember that practicing these delivery techniques and receiving feedback can help you refine your skills. We cannot do without public speaking skills. We cannot do with personal branding because we are all in the business of sales. That said, I am ready to take any questions. And as you share your questions, please remember this one thing when it comes to public speaking. If you can speak and deliver from your heart, you will speak exceptionally. What is important is for you to be authentic, being true to your story, developing your story, being consistent with it, and speaking from the heart. Because communication is no longer about moving or transferring your message from your mouth to the ears of your audience. Communication is about communicating from your heart to the hearts of your audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Patience. Thank you. I think we are happy to have your wonderful presentation for the day. Thank you.